When we left off, Camille was in Jameson's bed and the girls were considering a girls' trip. So did Camille really sleep with Ian? And is it on for the girls' trip? Stay tuned. This episode jumps off with Camille coming home at 1 a.m. and lying to Ian about where she has been. Not to mention flashbacks that are totally trying to throw us off, making us think they sleep together. But at this point, I still wasn't believing it. Then the girls prepare for their girls' trip to Puerto Rico. And as usual, Angie begins the trip off by flirting with an unknown. And you can tell she's honestly at this point just trying too hard because she really is crazy about Mike. The girls really get into the trip, and as they are lounging and relaxing, out of nowhere of the glistening water, here comes Grace Byers' husband in real life, who plays Keith in this particular episode, someone that she went to college with, and they decide to catch up. As they're catching up, he kisses her. He lets her know that, hey, basically was wrong for letting him get away. As they share their sob stories about relationships, Camille is trying to ignore all of these emotions and things she's feeling, and they keep showing us flashbacks with her and Jameson, again, trying to make us believe that they slept together. But really, she's just caught up in some other things. On top of that, Ty is struggling with her newfound independence. She's wanting to party and kick it like they did back in the day, but they're older now. So even some guys she tries to score cocaine with, basically to have fun, tell her, hey, she's old and she don't need to be around here trying to score for drugs, which kind of gives her a little bit of a reality check. And in the meantime, Amy gives her a call, the plant lady, talking about her computer. Again, I think they're going somewhere with this, and I'm just really not feeling it. Now back to Angie. Angie is realizing how caught up she is with Mike, until the point that she's actually FaceTiming Mike in the middle of the club. She actually is not checking for any men, which is completely unusual for Angie. So she goes to the rooftop because she's not getting service. And as she's doing this, the girls had sent someone to look for her because they couldn't get in touch with her. And the police are literally on the roof flashing the light on her as she's trying to do phone sex with Mike. Again, totally unfamiliar territory with Angie because she is definitely completely caught up in Mike. This prompts Angie and Camille to kind of go on a stroll by themselves, and they actually find these people on the side of the island earlier that tell them there's this ritual that allows them to cleanse their skin when they walk out into the beach. And so they decide, hey, they need to tell the other girls about it, and they need to do this ritual. Meanwhile, they begin to have this conversation, and Angie's like, okay, what's up with you? And Camille, has now revealed that it's not that she slept with Jameson, worried about why she does these things to sabotage her relationships. This is when Angie really shows that she has a deeper side, and she tells Camille, hey, you're doing these things just much like me. Like, I try to reach out to all these different men and mess with these different men because of my own commitment issues. So in other words, I try to sabotage relationships in that way. You do it to avoid real conversations. And she's like, you really need to talk to Ian about the fact that you don't want kids. Keep the fact that you fell asleep with Jameson to yourself, because that's not really the issue. Do you think that was good advice as far as her not telling him about Jameson? I mean, based on what happens, it basically is irrelevant because they're still going to have to end up going their separate ways. Unless someone changes their mind about having kids, that's pretty much a deal breaker. So I don't see how they would get past this. On the other side of the island, Quinn's mom actually shows up to support her because Angie calls saying, hey, we're worried about Quinn. She doesn't want to take her depression medicine. And, based on the show, this is unusual for Quinn's mom. So this was a softer side of her. She reveals to Quinn that depression actually runs in their family, specifically on her dad's side of the family, and that he actually takes meds himself. Quinn gets mad because she's like, why do black families keep things like this to themselves? Like, that would have been nice to know. And that is something you should probably disclose to your children so that if they begin having these symptoms, they know where it's coming from and that it's, not them. This could be a genetic thing. Her mom does let her know it's okay and it's okay to need a little help and take meds. And she really stepped up this time. Minus the fact that she came for a facelift appointment. Now the girls all come back together for that ritual they heard about on the island where they walk into the water at midnight and release their sins and walk back out into their new year. And this leads us up to episode 8. Based on what Camille realized in the previous episode, she decides to do a project that's all about Black joy and what gives joy to their lives. And this episode is basically about that. It goes back and forth to allow the women to narrate their feelings and what brings them joy. So starting off with Angie ends up getting the lead role, and the celebration is everything. Watch her celebration, y'all. And I'm not sure when, but now Quinn knows about Mike, and Angie feels like Quinn is jealous and she's kind of throwing shade. And I'm really not quite sure where that's coming from right at this moment and the way she's switching it up. I'm on Angie's side with this one. It's honestly weird how she's acting. Even her saying something about how fast Mike is saying he loves Angie when she's literally feeding this dude Keith birthday cake after like 2 weeks together. She tripping and being annoying, honestly. However, once she gets over it, she does reconnect with Angie and connects Angie back with Mike. And he ends up proposing. Ooh, child. But by the look on Angie's face, I honestly doubt she says yes. We are talking about a woman who literally just stopped having sex with random men like yesterday. So commitment is definitely an issue for Angie. And I really don't see this ending too well. What do you think? You think she'll marry him or no? In this episode, Quinn is spending a lot of time with Keith, her whole old college buddy, and being jealous of Angie, as we stated earlier. But it turns out it's really not about her when it comes to Mike, but she's more so afraid of losing Angie because, Angie's pretty much been her support system and living with her. And now when I think about it, the way Quinn gets depressed, she's probably very dependent on Angie. So this is where the jealousy is stemming from. Quinn is realizing a lot about herself and how she gets joy from relationships rather than having that joy from within, that self-love that she needs. This prompts her to make up with Angie and basically break it off with Keith because she realizes she needs to be good with Quinn first, which I think is amazing. And what I've said from the beginning is that she needs to really just be okay with Quinn. Now, as for Ty, I saw it coming, but I hoped that it didn't play out that way with her and Plant Lady Amy. Now they've really hooked up and they're going on their first date. And just as of now, it's still a no for me, y'all. I don't feel an ounce of chemistry, but hey, we'll keep watching. At this point, Ty wants to have sex with Amy, but she sends her home, letting her know she don't get down like that. And she would rather, wait and get to know each other better before jumping into the bed with each other. Ty heads home at this time because she gets a text from Zoe. So she's like, okay, I'm just going to have, me some meaningless sex with Zoe. And, I guess play the role like maybe me and dude, like, hey, you're not giving me none, so I'm going to get some over here while I continue the relationship with you. But then Amy ends up texting her to come back. So she leaves Zoe high and dry and arrives at Amy's just to realize that Amy is still not trying to have sex with her. But, she just wants them to lay there and connect with each other, which Ty actually ends up enjoying a lot. But plot twist, Y'all know I love a good plot twist. Amy is Zoe's mom. Who would have guessed? I definitely didn't see that one coming. Now, in Chameleon world, Camille is still struggling to tell Ian that she possibly doesn't want kids. And meanwhile, he's planning their entire life with them. Even though he tells her he's not pressuring her at all, but I don't know, that sounded like pressure to me. Ian's aunt, who loves to butt in his business, actually comes through for him, and this time, you know, we glad she butting in because she gives Ian $68,000 to pay off that wedding he didn't have. Man, TV, because ain't no way this happening in real life. But okay. Camille and Jameson's project ends up being a hit, and not only does the professor finally see Camille and congratulate her, so does her mom by showing up to support her. Then after this, having this experience, the joy that she got from this project, she really decides to go ahead and tell Ian. Once Ian and Camille have the discussion that they don't want the same things, it's clear that they have to go their separate ways. And it's prompted because the conversation with his aunt, she tells him, you know, hey, be a man, be real, grow up. Like, if you don't want something, don't drag things along. So he tells Camille, look, I want kids. That's what I want. So I don't want to give that up. And she's like, I don't know if I want to do that. So, man, like, this crazy because y'all just broke up a whole wedding. And I'm pretty sure the woman he was about to marry wanted kids. See how stuff happen? Whew. It's a little bit of karma because, I mean, yeah, though y'all had y'all feelings, y'all still broke up a wedding. So, I mean, what you expect? That karma got to come back. What y'all think about that? And for the final plot twist, Harlem leaves off on a serious cliffhanger. Someone is pregnant. So, who do we think it is? Honestly, I don't think it's Camille, first off, because that would be just way too obvious. I'm going with two options. One, it's not really a baby per se, but she's talking about Ty's eggs being okay. Like maybe something happened with that. Or second option is Quinn, if it's an actual pregnancy. And I say that because what was up with her on the boat waving at the little girl when she was having the self-love reflection thing going on? It was absolutely no point to the little girl being there. So, you know, possibly, and this will allow Grace's real husband, who is Keith, to be a part of the show if she ends up pregnant by him in real life, because that's the only option. Because prior, you know, she was with Isabella. So we know Isabella didn't get her pregnant. So we'll see when Harlem returns for season 3. We hope. What do you think? What do you think about it? I imagine some are going to say, no, it's Camille, and that's how her and Ian are going to get back together. But that also could cause controversy because she doesn't want the baby, which will get her to a point of would she want to have it or give it away, which poses a whole nother problem. But again, I just feel like that's way too obvious, y'all. So I'm going with my two options. We will see when season 3 returns. What are your thoughts? Sound off in the comments. What did you think about season 2 of Harlem? I'm actually going to give it I guess I could give it like a 3.5 maybe, but I'm gonna go with 3 because there were some good episodes, but there also felt like a lot of filler episodes this season. It also felt like it moved rather slowly, which I didn't like. I really feel like this season could have been 5 episodes easily if they just put it all together, but that's just my opinion. What are your thoughts? Thanks for watching. I'm Shay. You just watched another review from Click Play. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.